Thursday, this is Kat
and Heather
with your morning announcements.
Today's weather looks like it's going to be warm and sunny all day, with a high in the mid-50s coming into mid-afternoon. Too bad you're going to be stuck in class all day.
Anyways, we would like you to now focus your attention on the TV screen that is provided in your classroom for your viewing pleasure.
Today's big story? Birth control. Yeah, you know what we're talking about. The little device or pill you see in the TV commercials or in the pharmacy. For today's announcements, we would like to show you a new approach to this topic.
For our English class final project, Heather and I were asked to do a feasibility report. We decided to conduct our study on whether or not it would be feasible to provide birth control to high school students in the state of Alaska, not only to decrease teen pregnancy rates, but also to help with minor medical issues such as acne, DMS, and PMDD. You know, all those really annoying symptoms that come with that time of the month.
Kat, I don't think that was necessary to add. Bit of a TMI moment. Anyways, we began our study by researching the different portions of the study, including teen pregnancy rates in Alaska's high schools, as well as the methods of birth control that are available to the general public, and what each one entails. We created a questionnaire and distributed out to 23 random members of the general public. We used this questionnaire to gain knowledge on what general public knew about birth control, what they think of high schools providing it to their students, and which form would be most appropriate to provide to the students. When we began our research, we started with the history behind birth control, finding that birth control pill was established in 1960. When it was first available, the dose of hormone was almost 10 times the proper amount and was harming people with life-threatening blood clots. And no one wants that to happen. An interesting and funny little fact we found was that condoms that date back to Egypt in 3000 BC were worn by men as a ceremonial dress. Also, between the 1930s and the 1960s, women would use Lysol disinfectant as a contraceptive because experts in the field of feminine hygiene said it was the perfect hygiene product that would keep women from getting pregnant.
Now, to me, that is just insane. How is Lysol supposed to help protect women against getting pregnant?
I don't really know, Kat, but thankfully, these experts were soon found out to not actually exist, and women stopped using the Lysol disinfectant spray.
Well, that is a relief. It is so amazing the way that science has expanded since the mid-1900s. You know, we went from pills with too many hormones and Lysol to today where we have so many different forms of birth control. Today, we have the pill that is taken orally, shots, the arm stick, patches, and even a T-shaped intrauterine device or IUD.
Yes, and all these forms actually help in preventing pregnancy, unlike Lysol. They also help women fight against acne, menstrual cramps, headaches, anemia, endometrial and ovarian cancer, and they help with depression.
Wow, you know what? Sometimes science can be so amazing and helpful.
You got that right, Kat.
Okay, for our second set of research, we looked into the percentage of high school pregnancies in Alaska. Now, when I read this number, I was really surprised. According to a news article on abcnews.go.com by Joseph Brownstein in 2008, the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more commonly known as the CDC, shows that the national teen birth rate has increased by 3% since 2008, and in Alaska, a 19% increase in teen pregnancy and birth rates have been found.
You know, every time I hear and read that number, I just get so confused. It is such a large number for one state. Hopefully in the future we can, as a state, fix that.
You know, Heather, I hope we can too. And after finding that overly large number for the Alaska teen pregnancy percentage, we looked into what laws Alaska has that require schools to teach sexual education to their students. And you know what? It turns out that according to the National Coalition to Support Sexual Education, also known as the NCSSE, Alaska doesn't have any laws in place that require schools to teach sexual education on either sexual intercourse or sexually transmitted diseases.
You know, another thing that I found so interesting is that most parents find the birds and the bees talk very difficult or completely awkward to talk about. And because of this, and the schools don't give it sexual education, many students don't get the proper sexual education that they need.
You know, students just don't understand the consequences. We need to get parents more involved as well as the schools more involved.
found out that 52% of people we asked agreed that high schools should provide birth control to their students. For your viewing pleasure, we created a pie chart that represents this question. It shows you the percentage for the 4 different possible answers. Strongly agree, disagree, and strongly disagree.
Heather, don't forget to mention that we also wanted to find out what methods of birth control the public thought would be appropriate to distribute through the high schools. So we also created a bar graph for this question. It shows that the top 5 forms people found appropriate were the pill, the patch, the shot, the arm stick, and condoms.
In the end, the survey answered a lot of questions we had and helped us determine what the public believes to be appropriate and what would be feasible when providing birth control to high school students in this great state of Alaska.
Woo! You know, after all that research, I am exhausted. Let me tell you, I am ready for a nice summer vacation.
Oh, me too, Kat. But we still have a little while. Let's give them the recommendation from our strenuous research.
Well, I guess that sounds like a good idea, Heather. After finishing our research, we recommend that there is more research done on this particular subject before a decision is made. There is not enough current research completed to provide a proper and complete feasibility report. There needs to be more studies done on the current rates of teen pregnancy in all of the high schools in Alaska. Not only in the larger schools like those here in Anchorage, Wasilla, and Palmer, but also the smaller schools like those in Homer, Fairbanks, Sitka, and even the smaller schools out in the Alaska Native villages.
We also believe that in order to provide a more complete and thorough recommendation, there should be a more in-depth questionnaire handed out with more current information to reevaluate the public's opinion. The questionnaire should also be taken into the Alaska schools to get your opinion. After all, what good would it be to do any of the deep research and work if the students don't want it anyways? After all this research is done and the students' majority believe it is a good idea, it should be evaluated to see if this proposal would require a doctor's presence to distribute the birth control or if it just requires a nurse. And to find out if the school would have to provide a separate locked compartment to contain the birth control. The results of that research and evaluation should then be reevaluated and another feasibility report should be conducted with the new information.
We suggest that more research be done on this topic before any programs are completely implemented. Most of the information we came across while researching was not very recent. In fact, the latest studies we found were only done in 2008.
We need more information and more recent studies to come to a concrete conclusion for this idea is feasible or not.
We conclude that at this time, the idea of providing birth control to high school students in Alaska is not feasible until further research is conducted.
This is Kat and Heather signing off for the last time. It's been real. We hope our presentation sends you off with lots to think about over your beautiful summer vacation. So stay safe, stay warm, and enjoy this wonderful summer break.